welcome to the Ruth MacFit podcast, where we're redefining what it means to feel great in midlife. I'm Ruth, coach and creator of the No Crap Cake Method, a simple, no-nonsense approach to fat loss, fitness, and feeling your best without giving up everything you love. If you're ready to ditch your all-or-nothing mindset, build habits that stick, and say no to the crap that drains you, then you're in the right place. Let's go. Hello, welcome back. I'm very happy to be here chatting to you with a lovely warm cup of tea. It's dreary outside today, I'm not going to lie. Although I have also realised that I do tend to start this podcast chatting about the weather, which is very British of me, isn't it? So apologies for that. I recently did a live on Instagram about movement in midlife, and I realised that it's something that so many women struggle with. So whether you're wondering what the best kind of exercise is for your 40s and beyond, or perhaps you found yourself thinking, why does everything just feel a bit harder now? Then this is the episode for you. I want to break it down into what really matters when it comes to movement in midlife, and then talk about how we can make that work with your life. And before we go into the different types of movement, I think it's important to talk about why it even matters, especially in midlife, because I know a lot of women can feel like their bodies have suddenly stopped cooperating. The things that used to work, maybe to lose weight, like cutting back on calories a bit, doing a few workouts, just doesn't seem to work anymore, and it's frustrating. But it's also normal, right? Our bodies do change in midlife. Hormones shift, recovery feels slower, stress can hit harder, and motivation can also dip. And when you're juggling a million responsibilities, exercise can easily fall off that list. It can also feel harder, I think, because we've got our old self to compare to. I've spoken to so many women who struggle to get started again, having been fit and able to do things in the past. Perhaps we used to be able to run a certain distance in a certain time or breeze through a workout, and now we're staring down at the reality of what we can't do anymore, and that can be a bit of a slap in the face. But movement isn't just about burning calories, it's also about feeling better. It's one of the simplest ways to support your mood, your joints, your energy, your bones, your mental clarity, and just feeling more like yourself again. So if you're someone who's thinking, what's the point? This is your reminder that movement doesn't have to look the way that it used to look. It just needs to support you now and the life that you also want to keep living. I have a favourite saying, if you've listened before, and that is, there is no failure, only feedback. And I think the quicker that we stop judging ourselves for not being where we used to be, and instead start building from where we are, the easier it comes to make progress. So now let's talk about why this matters beyond just feeling good today. As we age, preserving muscle mass becomes one of the most important things that we can do for our long-term health and independence. It isn't just about looking toned, although it is going to help with that. It's about being able to move well, stay active, and avoid that slow decline that so many women and men, I might add, are led to believe is inevitable. Strength training is going to play a massive role in this, and when we combine it with high-impact weight-bearing movements, even if they're very gentle ones, we're also supporting our bone density. There's a brilliant graph that I saw, and it's from the Journal of Frailty and Aging, and it shows that adults who regularly engage in strength training are far less likely to cross into the disability threshold as they get older, which is, in other words, saying the more we use our muscles now, the more likely we are to stay active, independent, and feel good long term. You know, the whole use it or lose it approach. So when we talk about lifting weights or building our strength, we don't want to see this just as another midlife weight loss strategy. It's future-proofing your health as well. It's about being able to continue carrying those shopping bags in from the car in one trip, getting up off the floor, and doing those country weeds when you're out on the adventures that you want to have. I, for one, want to carry on having as many adventures as possible. I want to go on holidays without having to think too much about it. I want to be getting into trouble from my husband because I'm doing things that likely I shouldn't be doing still. Or I want my boys to be going, oh, you didn't climb that tree, mum, did you? Yeah, I want to be a pain. And if you've looked at anything to do with strength training, then you may well have seen the advice or heard the advice that you need to lift heavy. And yeah, that's great advice. Resistance training is going to be one of the best things we can do in midlife. But I think this can also have its limitations, because if you're not sure where to start, the lift heavy advice can feel like a big no-no. You might be asking, do I need to deadlift my body weight, or what even is a deadlift, or I don't want to go to the gym? And really, we just want to be working our muscles to the point of fatigue. That is going to be what helps us build that strength and keep hold of that muscle as we age. And if you're new to it, that might well be body weight at the moment. It might be getting up from your chair. It might be doing push-ups on the wall or the worktop. You might not be able to lunge yet, and that is okay. You can modify. If squats hurt your knees, then you could start with sitting to standing from a chair. That's honestly where I've started some of my strongest clients. You really do not need to be going all in with barbells and going to the gym for sessions. You just need to start at a level that feels manageable to you. Then we can look to progress. I was recently asked on Instagram whether strength or HIIT is the best in midlife. And I know that there's a lot of coaches out there saying that you need to do HIIT training. But as I mentioned before, you need to start where you are. And I also think that maybe they've taken this from the fact that they've heard that high impact weight bearing exercise can improve your bone density. So there's that study there. But that doesn't mean that it needs to be a HIIT session, which I will chat about in a moment. It can be really hard to filter out the good advice from the not so good advice on Instagram. And I do think that often people will share things that they're passionate about and meaning well and saying this is the way you need to do it because it's something that they enjoy and it works for them. But for me, if I had to pick one, it's always going to be strength that wins for midlife. The long-term benefits for our metabolism, muscle, bone health, and maintaining our independence are just too good to pass up on. But, and this is very important, if you love HIIT, if it gives you that buzz, your joints don't mind it, then absolutely go for it. HIIT can be a great way to build your fitness, improve heart health, and it does include impact, which we're going to chat about in a moment. But if it's something you dread, it's probably not the one to build your routine around. And something I'll often ask clients who are struggling with consistency is, are you doing this because you think you should, or because you are actually enjoying it? Enjoyment does matter. It's far easier to keep showing up for something when it feels good, even if it's just for a bit of fun, or you get a small win. If you're finding movement hard right now, ask yourself, how can I make this more enjoyable? Because that thinking alone can really reframe exercise for you. So think of it this way. If you enjoy it and it feels good, it definitely counts. If it's making you feel miserable or exhausted, it's likely not the magic key for you. But I don't want you to confuse this with not trying at all at the beginning, because often when we're just starting exercise, motivation can be lower and we do need to kind of push through that little period of time. I had this from a client recently. She said, when I go out and I aim to run, it doesn't feel good, but I can feel quite smug with myself that I've been consistent and I've kept going. And then it does get easier and I do start to enjoy it as I get fitter. And that's so true. And my son said this to me recently. He went, why, when I first started doing some strength training, did I not like it? And now I really like it. And I said, because you're getting stronger and you're getting fitter. So it feels easier. And he's actually he's a teenage boy, probably starting to see some of the progress that he's made as well in being able to lift heavier weights and a small amount of muscle perhaps as well. So I want to talk about balance now, because I think balance training can be very often overlooked. At the start of my workouts, I'll often do some single leg balances. In fact, I was doing some before I did my workout today, and I'll do it with my eyes closed. And it's not only just to practice that balance, it's also because it helps center me before my workout. It makes me feel calmer. It helps me focus on my breathing. And we do want to practice balance, not only to avoid falling, but also because it gives us confidence in our body. It can help us with feeling steady when you're moving around your house, walking down the stairs, or getting out of bed quickly. Again, important as we age. And you don't need fancy equipment to start training balance. You can just start by trying standing on one leg while you're brushing your teeth, holding onto a wall if needed, and then progress to doing this with just having something nearby. It's just doing what you can. And if you're strength training already and doing things like lunges or step ups or any other form of exercise that has you doing split stance or single leg, work, then you're already working on your balance. And just like me at the beginning of my workout, the bonus is that balance also fires up your brain, coordination, focus, and your body awareness. It's kind of mindfulness meets our movement. So good to put in at the beginning of a workout. And when we're talking about balance, I think it's also important to say that it can change from day to day. I don't know if you've ever had a day where you feel super wobbly and you might think it's for no reason. And it isn't just you, because balance will change depending on things like stress, sleep, hormones, what we've eaten, all of it. It can all have an impact. So if you are feeling unsteady one day and thinking, oh my goodness, my balance is so bad, don't panic. It's not that you're getting worse or that you're failing. It's just your body giving you some feedback. Maybe today it needs to be a slower pace, and that is okay. I know for me, when I'm doing my balance practice, if I've got loads going on in my mind, if I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, or if I'm a bit run down, then I will definitely notice that my balance is impacted, as well as my grip strength, interestingly. Right, this next bit is for those of you who feel like you can't start until everything is just perfect, a new week, a new plan, a free hour, a clear head. And I want you to remember that it doesn't have to be that way. I think in midlife, if we're waiting for everything to be perfect, we're likely not going to start at all, are we? You don't need a gym. You don't need a full routine. You just need to start with where you are, the time you have, and what you've actually got. I'm going to tell the story of my sister now, because it's one that really stands out for me. It was quite a few years back, but she wanted to lose weight and she had issues with her back. So she felt that she needed to get stronger too. But she definitely did not like the idea of doing a workout. So I created 2 small routines for her, daily 1 and daily 2. Each had just 3 exercises in them. She did them in the morning while the kettle boiled, and you wouldn't believe how much stronger she got. Her back pain eased, her confidence grew. She lost weight, but she was also walking and looking at her nutrition as well. It wasn't just from that. She didn't need to go all in with her work. She just needed to be consistent with what she could do. And it really was amazing the amount of strength that she built from doing that. But I suggested this approach to a client recently, and she was like, that doesn't feel like a proper workout to me. I don't think I can get behind that. And I do understand when we're conditioned to think that more is better, but consistency is definitely going to be intensity every time. 3 exercises a day adds up to more than a missed hour-long session that you'd planned and then you never got round to again and again. So I've convinced her to do this, and she's doing it now and enjoying those. The other benefit of doing it this way is that movement is also going to help your mood, your mindset, your sense of self. It reminds you that you are strong and capable. It's definitely about being strong in body and mind. And doing something is always going to beat doing nothing. So I want to take a moment now to look at some of the research, because I think it's really encouraging. On a large-scale 2021 meta-analysis found that walking at least 7,000 steps a day was associated with a 50 to 70% lower risk of all-cause mortality compared to those who walked fewer than 5,000 steps a day. And while 10,000 steps a day is what you'll often hear quoted, it isn't a magic number. The health benefits actually begin at around 7,000 to 8,000. More is great, but every bit counts. And it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. Walking regularly has been shown to improve our mental clarity, reduce anxiety, support heart health, and improve insulin sensitivity, which I want to talk to you about now, because this is a big part of the puzzle for a lot of women in midlife. Hormonal shifts during perimenopause, for some, can increase insulin resistance, meaning your body doesn't process carbohydrates as effectively. It's not everyone, it's just it can happen. And this is where walking, particularly after meals or movement after meals, can make a big difference. Research has shown that even just a short walk after eating, research has shown that even just a short walk or short movement after eating, here we're thinking 5 or 10 minutes, can help reduce that post-meal blood glucose spike. One study in particular found that walking for 10 minutes after a meal significantly improved blood sugar levels in people with insulin resistance compared to walking for 30 minutes at another time in the day. And the reason this works is because your muscles are the largest site of glucose disposal. Another reason we want to build our muscle, right? So when you use them, even gently, your body uses up glucose more efficiently. And this is great if you struggle with that slump of energy in the afternoon as well. And I want to be clear again, it isn't just about weight loss. This is about better energy, fewer crashes, and lowering our long-term risk of chronic disease. And I almost forgot the impact that it can have on sleep. So movement during the day, particularly walking and low to moderate intensity exercise or activity, helps regulate your circadian rhythm. I know that often women who are going through perimenopause will be waking more, struggling to get to sleep, and the tiredness that they've experienced can mean that they aren't moving as much during the day, and it becomes a bit of a vicious cycle. And often the exhaustion we're feeling can also be that mental exhaustion, which is difficult, which is different than physical exhaustion. And focusing on movement can absolutely help your sleep. It increases the production of serotonin, which supports the release of melatonin later on, which is our sleep hormone. People who move more tend to fall asleep faster, wake up less often, and report a better quality of sleep overall. So yes, walking more or moving more is going to help with energy balance, but more importantly, it's going to help you feel better physically and mentally and hormonally. And this is where my coaching approach comes in. The no crap cake method is all about ditching the pressure, the guilt, the expectations, and focusing on what actually matters for you or what works for you. Now, there are certain things that we're going to want to do in midlife. We do want to be getting stronger. We do want to be working our muscles to fatigue, but that doesn't mean that we have to do it absolutely one way. So ask yourself how you can make it more enjoyable, and do remember that if you hate it or you dread it, then it's never going to be something that you stick to. So ask yourself what you can do to make that more enjoyable. And that might be walking, dancing, shorter little routines, doing it with a friend, whatever it is for you. Enjoyment makes consistency so much easier. And consistency then gives us the results that we want long term. I want to finish this podcast with a little reminder that midlife is absolutely not the beginning of the end. We want to start doing the things that we imagine ourselves doing in the future now. Why is it we've got these goals? What are they going to bring us? Do those things, or start bringing those things in whatever way you can into your life now. Midlife can be a chance to reset, right? Because the things that make you feel great now are also going to make you feel great in the future, which is worth remembering. It's an opportunity to move forward with purpose, to protect our body, and to feel strong in body and mind, from the inside out. And my final reminder to you is that you don't need to overhaul everything. You just need to start with whatever it is that feels doable for you, that makes you feel good. And if you do want help getting started, or just want to know more about the no crap cake method, then you can head to Instagram, because I love answering questions on all of the things like this. You can find me on there at Ruth MacFit. But also in the show notes, I'm going to put a link to the daily 1 and daily 2 that I gave to my sister to start with, because this is a fantastic place to start. If you are struggling with consistency, you dread the idea of a 20, 30 plus minute workout and just want something you can do in the morning. So that link is going to be there. And you can also find out more information about coaching at www.ruthmacfit.com. Until next time, keep moving and be kind to yourself. See you soon. Goodbye.